Hi there, Priscilla Dames here. I've made a decision about this week. Last week was our inauguration. I am still on a high about that. Remembering that my background is in peace initiatives, the most important thing to me about last week that it was a peaceful transition without anyone getting harmed. There are all kinds of other things that have me on that high, and I'm still excited about quite a few things, which I'll talk about this week. But the number one important thing to me is that it was peaceful. There was no violence. No one was killed. No one was harmed. It was a beautiful inauguration. So I've decided to move this whole week's plans and videos to next week and this week just to focus on different people and the events of the inauguration. I'm on a high and I hope you are. That's the number one reason, but people are the number two reason. So I'm going to talk about the people and inauguration all this week. We already have a plan that's on all of my social media platforms. So I'm still going to follow the plan. The plan for Monday always is to give a celebrity quote. So the celebrity this time will be our President Joe Biden. He says, and we talk about parents quite a bit. He said, it's not hard to be passionate. The key to being successful and happy, he told the graduates of Yale, is balancing ambition with perspective. It's about being engaged. It's about being there for a friend or colleague when they're injured or in a car accident, remembering birthdays, congratulating them on their marriage, celebrating the birth of their child. It's about being available to them when going through personal loss. It's about loving someone more than loving yourself. And then he goes on to give examples about talking about himself, his family, his own losses, and especially his children. He said, by focusing on my young sons during that time, I found redemption. Many of you already know he lost his first wife and infant daughter in a tragic car accident. At that time, he was the senator of Delaware, and he very seriously considered resigning. And many of his colleagues talked him into staying. So he rode a train to D.C. every time he needed to go because he had to focus on his sons that survived the accident. He made it very, very clear, as he said, Delaware could get another senator, but my sons cannot get another father. That showed how very, very important his sons were, his family was and still is. It's the word compassion that I really want to talk about. We have a passionate president in the White House. I'm not considering getting involved with politics in this talk today. I'm talking about the word compassion, which is extremely important in my line of work. To being able to feel sympathy for a person, to reach out to them during their time of loss, of grief, of when the burdens are so very heavy, to being able to reach across the aisle to someone who you don't necessarily agree with, someone on your job, someone in your family. Someone's got to be that person. Going through this pandemic, being compassionate for other people is so important. Joe Biden says, people, it's not really that difficult. He said, thinking outside of the box, because when you know how important it was to you, when you're on that side, when you're the beneficiary, when you've been there yourself, it hits you very deeply. So when you're on the other side of that and things are going well with you and you see other people are going through it, like we are in the pandemic, being able to reach out on the other side and call that person, show that you care, show that you will listen, show that you want them to come out and not be isolated. Whether it's to come out and you keep your 6 feet of distance at a park or wherever the best place for you to encourage the person not to be isolated. Just showing you care. The key to being successful and happy is balancing ambition with perspective. Perspective about what's important to you, who is important in your life, and why. The importance of family, compassion, and building real relationships with people, even if they disagree with you. I absolutely loved reading about, not just about President Biden and his loss, but why he is so compassionate, how strongly he feels about it, how strongly he feels about his family. You've seen the tears when he's cried, when he's talked about the death of Bo, which came not that many years ago, years after he lost his daughter and his wife. He still feels that. He still wells up about it. So he understands when others are going through that. I'm asking each one of us to do that during this pandemic. Learn about compassion, empathy, mend fences, be the one to call, be the one to reach across the aisle. Is so important today. I'm excited about the inauguration, but I'm excited that it gives us new hope. I'm excited that not just no one got hurt, but I'm excited for the whole country. This is a new beginning for the country, but also for us in our own shoes, our own households, me individually. It's a new year. It's a new leadership. It's a new day. What are we going to do to work with the administration, to work with the adults in our home, to work with our children, to help ourselves, that self-care, to get through this? Ride with us. Bye-bye. We're in this together.